Hello guys, welcome back. In this video we'll be talking about bonds. But before that, let me make a chart, a mind map. A financial market divided into two parts: money market and the capital market. Money market is the market, for example, you buy the assets, alright, the financial assets, where the time period of the transaction or the time period of the repayment, for example the certificate of deposit, the CDs, the time period is very small, that is roughly less than 1 year. And in capital market it's greater than 1 year. Now the capital market can be divided into two parts: the equity and the debt. The equity, again, if for example if it's a new financial asset you are buying, then it's a primary market. If it's the second hand, it's secondary market, and the tertiary market. Now debt. What is debt? The amount which you take. For example, 50 crores you need to establish the new warehouse. So 50 crore is your debt. Alright. Now the instruments of debt are bonds and debentures. Alright. By instrument we mean that what are the tools, things like mortgaging, things like these are agreements, bonds. So what are bonds? Bonds are the instrument offering fixed stream of income. Alright. So that's the basic difference between bonds and shares. Shares are the profits is the key term in shares. In bonds, the second difference between shares and bonds is that the bond have fixed stream of income for fixed time period. On the other hand, the shares you will get the dividend, which is the part of profit, okay, until you have the share. That is, you don't sell it to some third party. Okay, so there is no time period for shares, there is fixed time period for bond. There is no fixed stream of income in shares. There is fixed stream of income in bonds. Next we will learn about the fixed interest bond. Now, first of all, what is bond price? Bond price is the value of bond is known as the bond price. Alright. And the interest rate is fixed at 4%, and hence the 4% of 1,000 is rupees 40. The government will charge the interest income. The government will charge the tax on rupees 40, and this is known as interest income. And hence the IT Act, that is Income Tax Act, has to be amended. Okay. The income tax based slabs, for example, if your interest income is rupees 40 lakhs, alright, so the tax will be levied around 2.5 to 5 lakhs, and government can collect the tax only if there is interest income. The next is a floating rate bond. Now the floating rate bond, here the interest rate is not fixed. First, it's dependent on either the market rate or some external factor rate. Alright, and this interest is decided by the issuer. Alright, if it's a big company, for example the Tatas, the interest rate is very less. If it is a small company like any company, any Tom Dick Harry company, the interest rate would be very high, because the risk factor in small companies is very, very high, and hence in order to attract, they need to have a high interest rate. Now the repo rate, I've already told what is repo rate. Now this is market, this volatility of interest rate has been fixed in order to protect the the lenders, okay, from interest rate risks. Okay. On the other hand, in fixed interest bond, the interest rate risks are not covered. Okay. Zero coupon bonds are also known as the discount bonds. Okay. Now, there are two things. First is the the selling price, and another is the MRP. All right. Now, in zero coupon bonds, the receiver of the money says that you give me 700 rupees, and after 1 year I'll pay you rupees 1000. Okay, so there is a discount price. Now, Government of India would collect capital gains tax here instead of interest income. Zero coupon bonds are not so prominent, not so prevalent in this time. It was very frequent in 1990s. Next is interest inflation bonds. For example, if the bond price is rupees 1000, the interest is 4%. In this type of bonds, even the inflation factor is covered in, because in emerging economies, in developing economies, the growth rate is so high that the inflation surges the increase in inflation is very high as compared to the developed economies, advanced economies. So the effect of inflation on the bond price, right, rupees 1000 would be converted to rupees 1030 with the inflation, and the interest, that is rupees 40, would also be converted to rupees 41.2. Alright. So IIB, that is interest inflation bond, produces compensation related to inflation in both the principal as well as the interest. IIB was issued in 2013 based on the WPI inflation, that is wholesale price index. Okay. Now, in today, if RBI issues, it also introduces CPI, that is consumer price index inflation, and combined would be used. A very important point in inflation interest bond is that in 2013 the inflation was very high, and hence the relevance of IIB, that is inflation interest bond, was very high. But in 2018 and 19 excuse me, when the inflation is not so high, it's hovering around 3.5 to 3.9, what is the relevance of IIBs? Now, in order to answer these, we have to first understand what is business cycle. Now, any business suffers a loss after profit, and after loss there is again profit. So this sinusoidal cycle of profit and loss is what is termed as business cycle. Now, for the producers and farmers, low inflation is not good, because they get less amount of money, and hence, in order to compensate for the low inflation, RBI increases the inflation so that farmers' income can be increased, producers' income can be increased. The increase in inflation is not severe, it's only 0.1. It's not leads to hyperinflation. Now, it indicates the farmers that by increasing the inflation here in IIBs from 3% say to 5%, that don't sell your inventories. Okay. Also, it indicates the people who are moving from bonds to real estates that they need not to move to real estates, they need to stock to bonds, because a better profit making bond is going to come. Hence, the inflation rate in IIB serves as a signal mechanism to these people, because if RBI straightforwardly says that the interest rate is going to increase, there will be a lot of hue and cry in the market. The political party may lose the votes, and hence this is a wheeled signal mechanism for the people who are smart enough. So that's all. Thank you.